Hello and welcome to WVU Medicine Tuesday Talks. I'm your host, Mary Ravazio Menard. Did you know today is not only Valentine's Day, it's National Donor Day. It's a day to raise awareness of the life-saving and healing benefits of organ and tissue donation. There are more than 100,000 people in the U.S. waiting for an organ transplant, and 20 of those U.S. patients die every day because of the lack of donor organs. So today we're talking about how and why to become an organ donor with Bryan Bird, Transplant Coordinator for the WVU Medicine Transplant Alliance. Welcome, Bryan, to Tuesday Talks.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Now, if you have any questions about organ donation, all you have to do is enter them in the comments section below, and we'll try our best to answer them live. Okay, so first, I have to tell you, happy National Donor Day.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you, thank you. Why is National Donor Day on Valentine's Day?
Well, like any other day, it's a good day to talk about donating and being given that gift of life. It's a day that's observed for organ donation, organs, eyes, tissue, blood, bone marrow, platelets, kind of everything together.
Okay. So how critical is the need for organ donors right now?
It's been increasing as the years go on. Right now there's over 100,000 people waiting for organ transplants. With corneal and tissue as well, there are about 250,000 people.
Wow. So that's
waiting for corneas and eye and tissue donations.
Wow. So that's twice, more. That's 2.5 times.
Yep. And in Western Pennsylvania and in West Virginia here, there are about 2,500 people waiting for organs.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So we've got a lot of people on the list. Do many of those people on the waiting list die before they can get, an appropriate
Unfortunately,
donor?
most do. About 20 people a day will pass away before they can get organs or have organs available for them to be transplanted.
Oh, that's a lot. That's too many.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about bone marrow, platelet, and blood donation, because this is National Donor Day. So we're not just talking organs. We're talking about blood, and if I remember from my biology class, blood is a tissue. So that's tissue donation. So how serious is the need for blood donors right now?
Again, like everything else, blood is in shortage and it's been getting worse. About 41,000 a day.
Wow.
Or somewhere like that. The numbers they're pretty high.
Yeah.
That's needed for blood donation.
And is there a shortage for bone marrow and platelet donors too?
There are. A lot of people with the platelet donors and the things like that don't realize that they can donate those as well. So being a donor for those, a lot of people just don't realize they can do that, because like with blood donations, like you think you go and donate blood, you don't realize that you're a blood donor. So there's more to it than just like organs and tissues and things like you said.
Okay, so we need donors on just about every level then, huh? Okay. So I think before we go on here, let's do a little bit of myth busting, because there's a lot of bad information out there, I think. So we're going to start with organ, eye, and tissue donation. I think this is one of the most common ones I hear is, I'm too old to be a donor. You don't want my kidney.
That is the very big misconception. I know with our program and programs around, we do everything on a case-by-case basis. So you're not too old until either testing tells us why, or if you have something in your history that is blatantly standing out that is a hard no. But everyone can come for the donor process.
Okay. And what about the myth, my religion doesn't allow me to be a donor?
Most religions see it as that you're giving a gift of life, so they support it that way, like a kind of a final act of love on your behalf. So most of them do support it.
That sounds like something religion would go along with, right? Yeah. Okay, and here's another common one. I've heard this one before too. The EMTs and the hospital staff aren't going to work as hard to save my life if they know I'm a donor because they want to use my organs for other people.
Yeah, that is the big one. Especially we hear it all the time as well. Your life is top priority. In a trauma situation, an emergent situation, no one is even looking at your donor card or at your license or anything for that. Your life is always top priority. So if circumstances to become or turn out not favorable, then that conversation will be had at a later time. But your life is always top priority.
Okay, good to know. Here's another one. My family will have to pay for the cost of, related to my donation.
Mm-hmm.
So if I donate, my family will get stuck with the bill.
Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, the recipient's insurance will actually cover most donations as well, or with the living donor side of things, that is the recipients kind of take over that. If it's for anything else, or for the eyes or the tissues or platelets and things like that, the organ procurement organization, which is core in our area, they'll be the ones that will eat that cost. So.
Okay. Now, you mentioned living donations, so I want to talk about that for a little bit. Are most of your kidney donors, or most of the donor organs that we get, are those mostly from living donors or deceased donors?
Our program has only done deceased donors so far.
Okay.
A lot of our recipients have potential living donors. It is a tough conversation to have with family members and friends and things like that, but living donor is better, kind of overall for both parties that would be involved. But but we've only done deceased donors. So
but
far.
that's just our Transplant
just
Alliance.
for our department, yes.
And that's just for now.
For now. For now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. In the future. And you mentioned that living donors are best. Now, why is that? Are the organs healthier, or?
If you think about it, the organ is coming out of a healthy person
Okay.
to go into someone, so it can be a little healthier. Sometimes cold times in the logistics of kidney transplant, it's a little better because the kidney's not sitting on ice as long. There's benefits for both, but living donor has a little more of the healthier, better side of the benefits.
Okay. And I mentioned I wanted to talk about this. The fun fact, I found this out a little while ago, that when you have a kidney transplant, they don't take out your old, or you said it's native kidneys.
Yep.
So you have essentially, after a transplant, you have 3 kidneys.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. So there are certain disease processes with the kidneys that may require your native kidneys to be removed.
Okay.
Most of the time not. So the new kidney actually sits kind of up here above your hip bones.
Because your native kidneys are
away. Yeah, they're in the back.
They're in the back. Okay.
They're kind of in the back there. So your new one, to have room, kind of sits above your hip bones there and your pelvis. And so not always do the native kidneys come out. So.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And there's room for 3, I guess.
Yep.
Three's company, right? Okay. Let's get back to a little bit of myth busting here then. We were talking about organ donation, but let's bust some myths now about bone marrow, platelet, and blood donation. Common myth, donating bone marrow is expensive and you have to have medical insurance to donate bone marrow.
Again, like going along with that, there are registries out there that can help with this. I believe Be the Match is one of them that can help. There's a few out there as well that kind of help with costs and things like that through that process.
Okay.
As well.
So it's not necessarily you don't necessarily have to have insurance to be a blood donor, bone marrow donor.
Correct.
Okay. How about this one for donating blood? I don't have a rare blood type, so they don't really need my blood donation.
Yeah. All blood is valuable, especially now. I know with the shortages and things going on and all the catastrophes around the world and things like that, blood always seems to be in shortage. O negative is a universal
Receiver?
Donor.
Donor.
O negative is
You know better than me.
Yeah, O negative is the universal.
O negative
one.
is the universal donor.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is used in our trauma, like our traumas, and when they have to give like mass transfusions and things like that. O negative is usually the ones used the most because everyone can receive it.
Okay. Okay.
But all blood types across the board are in need. So.
Okay. All right. What about I'm too old to donate blood? There's that age thing again.
Right? Never too old to donate blood. Some minimum requirements are age 17. A lot of the states require you to be at least 17. Some states, 16 with parental or guardian consent. But there is no age limit at the top end of that. Anyone over the age of 17 can donate blood.
Okay, good to know. Okay, I have heard this one before. Here's another myth. Donation of blood, bone marrow, or platelets is painful.
With the bone marrow donation, there is like special procedures and things they do. It's person to person. It just depends on how they're going to do the procedure and things like that, which the team, when they're acquiring that, would talk to you about it. They would discuss that and give you a heads up. With blood and platelets and things like that, it would just be the needle stick. So if you're afraid of needles, it probably get you a little more, but yeah, just the needle stick at that point. The actual donating the blood shouldn't hurt.
I don't watch it going in.
Right?
It doesn't hurt. If you watch it go in, it's going to hurt more.
Yep.
And I just always look away.
I'm the same way. Even
I don't need to see that.
15 years of being a nurse, and I still look away when people poke me. So.
All right. That's fair. That makes us all feel better. All right. So becoming a donor is easy. So let's talk about this. How do we become an organ donor?
So there is the website. It's www.registerme.org/WVU Medicine.
Okay.
Could be one. You can designate when you renew your driver's license at the DMV. In West Virginia, hunting and fishing license as well.
Really?
You can. Yep.
Wow.
Maybe that may expand through most other states. I'm not quite sure of that, but I do know West Virginia hunting and fishing license. You can do that as well. Main thing is talking to your family, just making sure your family knows your wishes if it comes to that, and things like that. So
yeah, that's an important conversation to have. I mean, if you don't talk to your family, and maybe you have on your driver's license that I want to be an organ donor, can your family veto your decision?
That I don't know.
Okay.
So
okay.
That would have to get more information into. But
it's just it's an important conversation to have.
A lot of a lot of people don't have that end of life conversation because you don't really think about it until you're usually in that scenario. But just that's a good conversation to have kind of up front to. If you get to that point to
let them
be
know
ready
your
for
wishes.
Yep.
Let them know your wishes. So what would you say is the most important thing you want our viewers to know about organ and tissue donation on this National Donor Day?
So we here at WVU Medicine, we are forever expanding, we're forever growing, we're forever advancing our technologies. So we have the multi-organ Transplant Alliance with hearts and kidneys right now. The Cancer Center has the bone marrow and their program as well with bone marrow transplants and things like that. So just continuing to grow on that and continuing to get West Virginians to come see us.
Okay. All right. So go to the website or renew your license.
Yep.
A lot of options here. All right. Bryan, thank you so much for sharing this information with us today. It was a lot of good information, and it's not just Valentine's Day.
Yep.
It's National Donor Day.
National Donor Day.
Happy Donor Day.
Yes.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Tuesday Talks. If you're looking for more information about becoming a donor, visit wvumedicine.org/transplant, and we encourage you to register to become an organ donor by visiting registerme.org/WVU Medicine. And join us next week on Tuesday Talks when we'll talk about the clinical trial for a new treatment for prosthetic joint infections with WVU Medicine orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matthew Dietz. I'm Mary Ravazio Menard, and on behalf of Bryan Bird and everyone at WVU Medicine, thanks for joining us and have a great day.